Yes. Hi guys.
This is our first attempt at a podcast.
Second technically, but
Second. Well, it's our first one with like all three of us.
we wanted to include more people in it.
Yeah. That's kind of like what our channel. There's one more of us that we want to like include, but he's a lot more busier. Not busier, as in like he doesn't have things to do, or he has more things to do, but like he doesn't. He'd rather like sleep and stuff than like actually do fun stuff. We don't know the name of the podcast yet. We haven't really thought of it. We want to make it funny.
So. Yeah, because like we realized that just our normal everyday conversations, if they were to film, I know that other people would just enjoy watching how like goofy and funny we could be, but also like very serious at the same time, or something like that. So
we'll introduce ourselves. Starting with you.
I'm Josh.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
6'2", light skin.
See,
I'm a senior in high school, about to go to college. The vibes.
Oh, I'm Chris, and we're all seniors, by the way, at the same school, obviously. And
Y'all just pick me up.
Topic. We're actually going to talk about
our start.
How we all met. We actually, all three of us didn't know each other when high school started, and now we're like bestest of friends, like
Bestie.
I mean, we like drink from the same cup.
Only because you don't got his cup.
We can't afford our own, so we just gotta share whoever's got the cup at the time.
But yeah, we're just gonna I guess share from where we started and stuff like that, and how we got closer and stuff like that. So.
Like going into like our school.
Good.
Going into our school, obviously, like most of my middle school friends, like or people that I thought were like my very close friends, and they were for like the 3 years that I was in middle school. Like none of them were going.
Stop, dude. Don't expose us like that, bro. I don't go here.
I didn't feel like anyone or none of them were gonna go to where I was gonna go into high school next year, and like we had this sort of like summer bridge type of thing that we do at our school, where you kind of like go as a freshman and like try to meet other people, and like they kind of set you up in groups, and the people in my group I just didn't like really get along with because they were like very different. I don't want to say like weird, right? But like obviously like different from the way I think and do things. So obviously like I find that weird. And for the most part, that was like the majority of the people that go there. And I didn't know that these guys existed, obviously, because like we were in very different groups. The only time, and like for lunch, I remember I was like pretty much by myself at lunch. So yeah, because like that week was like so bad, and then I remember
The lunch. Oh
That
my
week?
gosh.
that like
Summer Bridge.
Oh, I was gonna say
They
that.
had pizza every day.
I know, dude.
I just stopped.
No, but like
I was like, I met you that week.
yeah, no, like that week of Summer Bridge was like obviously like, dang, I'm really about to spend 4 years here with like no one that I get along with, like I don't really like. And I remember the first day of school, I had one class by myself. It was like a study hall type of thing. It wasn't really a class, but I stayed with that same teacher for the next period, and then Ryan came along. He was he sat at my table.
I mean,
Well,
when we're
Ryan,
talking good.
yeah, like
Not that we talk bad about it anyway.
yeah, but like he sat on my table because I could tell like like
You didn't want to
like,
be there either.
No, yeah, kind of. We had some like that sort of like same vibe where like we don't really see everyone else as like weird or like different from us, but we definitely like when we saw each other, we were like, I feel like he's definitely like got at least something in common. So like we ended up sitting, and then another person sat with us, and he was just like really obnoxious and you know, spoke out a lot, and that was funny, and we like bonded over that.
No.
Well, I mean, like we can cut that part out, but like
you can like bleep it out.
yeah, but like yeah, and then like right after that period, it was lunch, and he had already known you and Animesh from middle school, so like he went straight to y'all, and I was following, or like we together we went to like lunch, and he like immediately introduced me to Jose and Animesh. Animesh was a little like kind of like not like shy, but like, you know, back then kind of how he was, and you right away I could tell that we were like a lot alike by like the way you introduce yourself. And I know I didn't meet him until Siki.
Yeah.
Siki's class.
Was it second semester?
It was second semester of
Yeah.
freshman year, because like I know the first semester was just me, it was Jose, it was Ryan, Animesh, and Kavi came later too, like around the same time as he did, right? So it was just us four at the time, like for the first part of the semester. And then second semester, I had Masiki's class. It was a like English teacher, and he was in there, and and like we both, I think at the beginning of the like the very first day of class of that class, we like, I don't think we sat together.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, but the way we started acting in class, and the way I know that I used to act the first semester, but I got in trouble, so I kind of dialed it down a little bit. The way that's like exactly how he was acting. So I initially like went and like we sat together eventually, and then that just led to like more fun memories, and like obviously like we got in trouble. You got sent out in the hallway a lot, but it was like fun and like nice memories, and like he obviously like became part of the group without like, you know, because like, you know, it's like a good friend when they just immediately kind of like put themselves into the group without kind of like being like, hey, let me introduce you to like Josh, you know, he's gonna be part of like kind of what we're doing. He just kind of comes in, and it was pretty cool.
You wanna go?
Oh, you can go.
Yeah, you can go.
Okay,
What's
so
up, polite?
as far as me, like two people that Chris mentioned, Ryan and Animesh, they went to my middle school. So we were pretty close just coming into high school. And I remember Ryan would always tell me, he's like, dude, I literally just hopped on the bus because like you and Animesh came. So it was cool like having like a best friend and knowing that like you were gonna know somebody. And the school that we go to, obviously it's a lot different than a traditional high school. If you guys are more interested in that, we can always drop like a separate video talking
And
about our
it's
high
small.
school. Yeah, it's a
small.
lot smaller than like a traditional high school. I know like there's about 700, 800 students like per grade in a regular high school. Compared with us, we have 100, less than 100 even.
Mm-hmm.
We have like our whole from freshman to
Entirety.
senior year
Mhm.
is like 370 students. So it's like a really, really small high school. So like obviously knowing that we were going to a small high school that a lot of people were not going to go to, it was going to be like a big transition, and like going from middle school and having like a lot of friends, like acquaintances and stuff like that. It was going to be a big step, but like knowing that you were going to have like one of your best friends or two, from in my case, it made it a lot more comforting. And my brother also went to that school as well, so I knew like he was going to introduce me to his friends and stuff like that. But yeah, as far as like meeting these guys, like Chris mentioned, I met him like the second day of school, I think. Just because I think the first day I didn't have any classes with him. I had more classes with Animesh. And then I think I had like a math class with Brian, but as
No,
far as
I had math classes. I had Arbach with him.
oh,
Yeah.
then never mind. I don't know, dude.
It
my
was
freshman year,
like 3 years ago.
my freshman year was like a blur, dude. I don't know. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I met him second day, which was pretty cool. And then as far as Josh, I met him second semester. I knew of him because we like all had like the same kind of friends, so we saw each other. And like I said, we go to a small school, so we saw each other around. And I knew of him, and I knew of his cousin more than I knew of him, just because his cousin was like into basketball, and that's where I was like really into, and that's where I gained like a lot of friends. So I knew of his cousin, but I knew of him because he was also related. So that's how I knew of him. But it wasn't until like second semester that I actually interacted with him in like our PE class. and like that class was like
Yeah.
the class. It was a college kinesiology class, but that like our whole class was like so unathletic, and it was literally just me and Josh that were athletic, so we bonded over that. So like literally every time we would do like one day we would do like lecture, and then for the second part of the day we would do exercise, and then the second day of that class we would do an actual like team sport. So literally every time we would like do sports, you would literally just have like me and Josh tryharding because like nobody else could like play with us. So that's how like I met him, and then I mean it was fun because like we bonded over just sports.
You remember the mile?
Yeah, and oh my
Oh
god,
my gosh, that was so funny.
like but I mean it was fun. That class was a lot of fun just because like him, and then just as the years went by, obviously like we had a lot more classes together and that bond just grew. But
So my story is like a whole lot different from
He's like,
theirs.
I didn't really like it.
Nah, so I came from a different district. They all went to I went to BUMS. So I came from a different middle school.
No, we did not. I know. I was saying don't say the names.
Oh, they went to a different school district. I went to a. So I was basically all by myself. The only people I knew was my cousin and his friends, and I didn't really know his friends like that. So it was basically just him. And like Chris talked about the summer bridge, that was terrible. Oh my gosh, that was bad. But I remember, I think it was the first or second day, I met our friend Animesh, and we were in Mr. Hughes' class, and he was talking about how to write email to a professor, right? And so then Animesh, him and his cousin Aroj, they would start talking about anime and stuff. I was like, this man, he really talking about anime. And like he was able to take a joke, so like we always made fun of him and stuff, or I made fun of him. Like I'm a teasing guy, so you know I like to make jokes and stuff. So yeah, that's just how I met Animesh. He was my first friend at me, and then I found out at our school. He was our first friend at our school, and so then I found out he played soccer. I played soccer for the club, and then we just bonded over that. And then first semester, I basically didn't really have anybody like as friends. Like I would go around the school, like a lot of people knew me. It's just like, you know, you don't really have like friends, you just have acquaintances. So that was basically my first semester. And second semester, I met this man, Chris, and Siki's class. Yes, sir. Not a day went by when I didn't get set out in the hall. That was funny.
It was all me too.
I would get set out in the hall because he messed up. But yeah, and then soccer club, Miss Arbach. Can I say that?
Yeah.
So Miss Arbachen, she was the head of the soccer club, and so then I found out Chris played soccer, and we bonded over that because soccer is like, I love soccer, so. You know, we just bonded over that. Sports, basically, if you play sports, I'm gonna bond with you. I mean, yeah, so me and Animesh and Chris, that's the main friends I knew. And then I started seeing Jose more because I was in their group, and then Ryan and Kavi as well. So that's how I became part of the group. And then the first, like, actual, like, kind of thing we did together was Mackenzie's pool party. Freshman year, the end of freshman year, yeah. That was basically, that was the time that we all like actually like talked. I was in the group and everything. So yeah, that's pretty much how we met, and just high school, and now we're here.
At the end.
At the end.
Well,
Share around
17 minutes.
Yeah.
Long.
Well, I guess it'll be like we can cut here, and then we could add like just like how
like fun memories or something.